TMD402. So what it does is, not only makes the game itself more interesting, but also if you are a Diesel fan, if you like that garment, you can actually go out and buy the garment too. Or you can even have a matching garment with your Sims if you wanted to. This is another way of kind of increasing your promotion activity. The second area is fashion-related games. A lot of them are related to styling type of an idea. So this is an example called Fashion Design in New York. So what it does is you kind of set your avatar and you usually have a goal to achieve. So sometimes you would be given an option to match up your garments so that it will look like a professional looking or more vintage looking, all kinds of a look that you style from your closet. And then at the end, when you put together your outfit and push the person onto the runway, sort of, then you will get the response from their fashion experts. So whether you actually got it together correctly or not. So it's kind of a fun way to, I guess, test your basic knowledge about which item fits into certain categories. But I feel like this is more suitable for a little bit younger group of people who have not much of expertise, because a lot of us have more advanced knowledge than what they actually can offer. But these are kind of fun to just do. So these 4 types of digital products are fashion digital products. The question now becomes, how do retailers use this information? What does it mean to us? Was there any new challenges or opportunities? So the 2 major things, as we briefly discussed at the beginning, is the fact that these products are intangible and it's kind of ambiguous in terms of who owns it. So the issues becomes the cost-value structure. So how do we price it? That's one big question in this whole area. And another thing is, how do we create a business model for this? So if you develop the app and you know that this is going to be successful, how do you make money out of it? Because it's nice that people, maybe they would be willing to buy it, but at how much? Like 99 cents or $1? That's a big question right now. And other than that, you will have to come up with some kind of idea to include advertisement and all that kind of stuff as well. So to see some glimpses of what people are actually doing right now is that something like this. This is an example of a magazine. So traditionally, a magazine website would only offer the content. And the best way to go about it is to ask for subscription fees. But when a lot of other people already show your content without fees, it's going to be very difficult to compete with them. So what they're doing is to put together these whole idea of information, but then they link it directly to the retailing idea. So they actually sell products too. So as you can see here, they actually presented the best looks for the resort look of the season. And then now you get to see this Shop Now button, which probably wasn't there before the era of digital revolution. So now they can actually link immediate sales onto their website. So these type of things are expected to become more and more popular into the future, because the information itself, we hope that they have some kind of value, but it's increasingly more difficult to really have people pay for it. The second area is to really look at the whole thing differently. This is another game that I kind of found out actually a couple of days ago while I was preparing for this presentation. I was thinking maybe I can find some newer fashion games to kind of post. And then guess what? I was playing it for like 5 hours in a row. So the interesting part of these type of games nowadays is that it also includes some of the traditional area of fashion and the Sims type of game, but then it includes a lot of social elements. You probably play a lot of social games on your mobile phones. So what it does is it actually encourages people to make friends and share some of the points or whatever things together and build up the network. And I think increasingly it's apparent to the retailers that having those network information, the size of the network itself, is actually your asset. So it's an interesting way to approach, because with the number of people who's connected to you, you can actually have more power to forward any kind of promotional messages. So that's another way to build up your business model, it seems like. Okay, so that was the first groups of fashion digital products. The second area is related to the collaborative consumption. Are you familiar with the term, collaborative consumption? No? So it's not really a new concept in a way. What it means is we actually change what we have and share what we have. It always was like that from old age, like you go to the next door neighbor and you help them babysit for a while, and then the other person come to your house and help you do some other stuff, stuff like that. The bigger idea here that's becoming more and more popular is that we don't need to own the product ourselves when we only use it for a fraction of time that we own. Like there was an statistics about the power tool, that almost everyone has a power tool in the household, and the statistic says it's about 12 to 13 minutes that you're going to use it out of all the time that you actually store it in your house. So, it makes a lot more sense to actually, lend it to somebody else so that they can use it for 12 to 13 more minutes. So that your power tool now have at least like 30 minutes of actual usage. So that type of idea is becoming a lot more powerful right now. It has been always around, but increasingly you get to see a lot more of these. Zip cars, you've seen it around, right? So people share the cars instead of owning a car. Bike sharing is another good example of those. The reason behind it is anti-consumerism movement, and also a lot of economic reasons. Like there has been a lot of pressure financially, so people do think about ways to overcome those restraints. But then what's interesting here is that because we're living in this digital era, our traditional concept of neighbor is not the same. Because it used to be the case you only would share this with like 5 people in the block. But right now, if you wanted to, the whole world can be your neighborhood. And that's what really makes this whole movement a lot more powerful. So coming to kind of fashion-related area, here's some interesting take on this. So Business Insider actually said people won't care as much about ownership. And this is kind of going back to what we discussed just now. I mean, as we move on to a lot of digital products, we don't really care as much about the ownership itself. It becomes a lot more kind of vague. So the same thing happened to a lot of other things that we traditionally feel like we need to own them. So Rent the Runway is an interesting take on collaborative consumption. I don't know any of you actually have used it before, but what it does is like, yes, I can probably wear a really nice Chanel dress, maybe once in my life, but probably I don't know whether I can afford it, first of all. Second of all, even when I can, I don't know whether I want to. So this is a kind of an idea that you can actually rent it for a short time period and then return it with a reasonable price. So that type of thing will be becoming a lot more popular in the near future. The question here is again, how do we create a business model to take advantage of this whole collaborative consumption? Because essentially, we're looking at business of network instead of business of product in this sense. So the information of people who are willing to give out certain product and take some other product, that's the key to this whole business model. So Pushmark is another example of similar kinds. So that was on product. Any questions by any chance? This one? Okay.
I wasn't sure about the PC games. What exactly does the game do? Like you have H&M, do you take the clothes from a closet or something and dress?
Dress your Sims.
Okay.
You're kind of an avatar.
Okay.
The game itself is not about fashion. The Sims is more about actual living. So you actually go to school, get a job, and have a family in many different clothes. So, just like our regular life, after you playing it for like a month, then you do want to have new clothes. You do want to go out and shop for new clothes and change your outfit and change your makeup, change your hair, all the kind of things. So exactly like how we usually live. So it's quite fun if you haven't done it before. Okay, so the second part is on fashion retail stores. So the digital revolution actually moving into this store is really astonishing. And there are a lot of exciting things happening right now. So I will look into two major things. The first one is called digital plus analog, which means like how this distinction between digital and analog is blurring. And the second area is called new technology. So how the new technology that we haven't seen before is really reshaping how we do the business. So the digital information, it's becoming increasingly available in the stores. So you will get to see these type of an interactive windows that actually shows all those information about the product. And this guy in McDonald's tray actually has like an information in front of him to show actual calories and what it does to you. Probably that's going to hurt their business quite a bit. But, and this is going to be increasingly more and more available to you. So the example on the right top side is a mirror that's interactive. So you see yourself and you will see the clothing that you chose on top of you. So you're not really actually wearing them, but easily you can just switch different kind of clothes on top of yourself in the mirror. And also interactive digital technology in the tabletop. So when you go to the restaurant, you get to see just simple tabletop. So why don't we use it a little bit more wisely? So that's our next video. So this is a new Pizza Hut interactive table. So this makes a whole lot of sense if you see it, right? We just somehow don't get to have them around us yet, but they are randomly selecting some of the stores right now to implement it in the very near future. So what it does is it actually translates your ordering process into digitally interactive media. And you actually implement people's voice right away. You don't even need to have your sales associate going in and taking orders and making sometimes mistakes. So this is really, and also it's a very real portrayal of how we order, right? I don't like these in my house and all that kind of stuff. So, so that's going to be something that you're going to see in the retail stores. So it's kind of in the traditional way, we always thought digital is kind of in your computer. It's only in your desktop, but right now it's kind of merging into your own world. So you walk into the store, but then you're going to interact with all those digital displays. RFID technology is another thing that's becoming a lot more prominent. When RFID first became very popular, it was very useful for certain industry, but fashion industry, I think we had a lot more trouble finding ways to really make it useful. But I feel like this is really finally getting to the point where we can actually use it properly. So this is an example from the Burberry flagship store in London. And what they are doing is that they actually implemented kind of an end table that has the scanner for this RFID. And you put your product on top of this, and then it will read the RFID, and it will display the details of that product on this big screen. And what it does is instead of just showing the product itself, it shows the detailed information, where it's made, who made this. You will actually have videos related to the product and everything. So it has a really complete package of it. Another interesting phenomenon right now is how retailers bringing online information into their stores. So Pinterest is another big phenomenon right now. And you do get to see like how many people pinned it. So the favorites of the people. So this is kind of an Nordstrom's example. Nordstrom is taking that information into their store saying this is our kind of best pick. Actually from the people. It's not best pick from our merchandiser, but it's actually best pick from the people. So this is, again, an example of how this whole phenomenon is merging into one experience. Another interesting take on this is actually digital product display in the physical stores. So what it means is, instead of actually going to the store and seeing and touching the product, they would just take a picture of the product and put it as a wall with a bunch of QR codes. So what you do is you just take the QR code with your phone, and it will bring out all those information on your phone, and you can buy it if you like it, and then you will have it shipped to your home. And what it does is, interestingly, this will expand where the store should be increasingly. So typically you will have to find certain store-looking space to be able to actually do your business. The first real take on this was in South Korea. They actually installed it in the subway station. So while people are waiting for subway, they would actually go and just scan the code and do their grocery shopping. Another one is in England right now at the airport. So people, you know what it's like to be at the airport. You don't have anything else to do. So they would actually utilize the time to actually help people shop for their groceries, so by the time they get home from the trip, they will have their grocery done. So all of those are really increasingly make every single space kind of a shoppable space in a way. Another interesting thing is about the information that's available to the retailers and how retailers are going to use it. So the phone, because it's location-based, we all have connection to the retailers, and they will be able to actually push a lot of information to you, and you will be able to find a lot of things related to your current location. So what's really interesting about this is that any information at this stage is going to be very, very relevant, because what's critical to really grabbing consumers' attention is how to make it relevant to them. A lot of messages are going to be wasted because it's not relevant to them at the moment. But any of these kinds will be very, very relevant. Another new trend is use of new technology. So any kind of new technology development can actually make this whole experience to the next level. And these two are examples of augmented reality. So what it does is you actually put your phone up, and it will actually have kind of floating information on top of the reality. So it's augmented in a way. You will see those bubbles that's on your phone that shows the location of the stores or the working hours, what kind of sales going on, and all that kind of stuff. And this is an example of an augmented reality display. So what they do is they have a huge screen outside the department store, and you have the paper that has augmented reality function in it. You put your paper strip around your wrist and put it in front of the computer screen there, and then just take different types of models of the product and it will kind of show on top of your wrist, so that it will help you to decide which one looks best on your wrist, instead of actually going into the store and try it out. Yeah, a lot of things are really fun. So here's another example of what might be possible with this new technology.
This is my favorite thing of the show. This is the Samsung transparent smart window. So it looks like a normal screen, but I can actually do things like make this blinds. So I can close the blinds. I can actually see through to the little town outside. If I want to hit widget, I can check out Twitter. I can check the forecast for Vegas. This is so freaking cool. This is future technology right here. It's a one-sided pane, which means people can't walk by your kitchen window and see what you're looking at, so you don't have to worry about that. I know that it's going into the coming months, their mass production in the coming months, so we're going to start seeing stuff like this ASAP, and I'm pretty excited about it because, well, quite frankly, I feel like I'm in Minority Report, and that's really awesome.
So that's another interesting